Well, welcome to my weekly message. My name is Dr. Neil Hopkin. I'm the Executive Principal here at Fortis Education. We've made it to June. It's almost the end of the academic year. And all students, as they reach that point in the year, start to breathe, once they've got over their exams that is, start to breathe a sigh of relief. The holidays, the vacations are nearly there. They're tangible, just within reach. And of course that's a great time that you might recall as a child, that perhaps you lie in bed a little bit longer, maybe you're allowed to stay up slightly later at night. You don't have that drive of homework that's going. Suddenly life feels fabulous as a student. And of course we don't want to rob any of our children of that childhood experience, because when they get into work they know that it's going to be very different and they will be very busy. So we do want to make sure that our children enjoy their holiday period. However, it's interesting working in education, looking at what happens across the summer period. And for around about 130 years now, educational researchers have been studying what is called the summer learning loss. And that explains the phenomenon where a child might reach a certain level of academic brilliance by June. Then they have a couple of months off in the summer, they return to school in September, and their performance isn't quite as sharp as it was previously. And of course this tends to fill not only parents but teachers with horror, looking at what the summer has done to the child's ability to perhaps write or to perform and solve mathematical equations and so on. So what can we do as a parent, and what is sensible to do? How do we strike the right balance of making sure that our children's minds and brains are remaining very active and moving forward, and keeping hold of a lot of that agility and information that they'd managed to acquire over the course of the year, without just letting the sun evaporate all of that on the one hand, and on the other hand not making the summer just yet more education and schooling. We want them to have a break. It's an important part of the rhythm of their life. So what can we do as a parent to get that balance right? Well, interestingly, COVID has also had an impact which has changed what we might consider in this particular time for this particular holiday season. Because research was published about a month ago in America which showed that for the first time ever, children's reading also was part of the summer learning loss. Now traditionally it would tend to be more around maths and sciences, but just last year and last summer's learning loss also registered that in reading. Now we might think, of course, that children tend to read across the holiday period, and maybe that's what had buoyed it up. Maybe that didn't happen last year. Maybe families didn't travel as much. Maybe the children had just actually had enough of being cooped up in their homes and wanted to do something physical and active rather than book-based. Whatever the reason might be, and we'll probably never really know, the truth of the matter is that actually children's reading has suffered. And that's a cause for concern for all of us, because reading really is the foundation upon which much of learning is built, and of course much learning is acquired as a result of reading. So I think this summer would be a great time for you to concentrate on reading. Now, Scholastics have just this month have published some research about kids and family reading, in which they explore the notion of how a parent benefits from spending time reading with their child. You're all cuddled up together, you're laughing about what the story is and enjoying it and into the text. Everybody wins, oxytocin is released in the parent's brain, and the stress of their own day actually evaporates as they enjoy sharing a book with their young child, who of course gets the benefits of engaging in a text with you and understanding the nuances of that text. That's okay if your children are 4 and 5 years old, but actually cuddling up with your 14-year-old teenager who might be taller than you and sharing a book together, I suspect is a slightly rarer experience for many parents. So what can you do as a parent of older children as well? Well, in part, it's about what you do. It's about the role modeling that you provide. perhaps this summer you could commit to reading a lot more in front of your children, so they see that you value books. Maybe you'll retell some of the interesting parts of the book that you've been reading, or the amusing parts, or the moving parts, so that actually they get to see that you are engaged with the text that you're reading. We also know, research tells us, that actually how a child performs at university, the qualification, the grade that they will get for their university degree, is actually affected by how many books they have in their environment, how many books you have in your house. The magic is the child doesn't even need to have read them. It's just the value that they see that you as parents put in reading actually can impact what they then go on to do when they get to university, and how they behave and interact with literature while they're there. So the second thing you can do, apart from just reading and role modeling reading in front of your child, is to actually just casually leave some books lying around the house that they might find interesting, so that when those moments of boredom that can appear in some holiday periods, when they occur, your child will be able to reach out and find a book that they might turn to. Maybe out of desperate measures, maybe the PlayStation has stopped working, and what on earth can I do? I might have to read a book. It would be brilliant if you could make sure that their environment is full of books that they would find interesting. So, one of the things that we would like to focus on in these last few weeks as we think about how to cope with that learning unplugged period. So that period of learning when your child is unplugged from school, but actually still needs to keep their brain active. One of the things you can do is to develop your own love of reading in front of and with your children. I hope you enjoy doing that this summer.